Okay, let's play some Wii Sports Resort today. Oh, hey, you're probably wondering, why do I love Wii Sports Resort so much? Well, let's get into that today. Wii Sports Resort was the sequel to the classic game called Wii Sports. If you didn't know, it was one of the world's best-selling games of all time. That isn't very surprising, seeing how it's on one of the world's most sold consoles of all time. Wii Sports Resort was just simply an improvement to implement the Wii Motion Plus. Now, I'm using a bootleg Wii remote, so it says Motion 2-in-1, which obviously isn't what the original one says, but this is a good alternative. So you're probably saying, how could Wii Sports Resort improve our current education system? I'm gonna come back to you about that. So apparently, Wii Sports Resort can help our current education system with its very unique Motion Plus 2-in-1. Now, obviously, we're only children. We're not gonna obviously know how to code a game perfectly. But say, for example, you already have some coding experience. Like me, I know how to code games. I've coded multiple before, actually. I'm not gonna show any footage of that because that would take too much effort for me to do, but I have, okay? And it wouldn't be too much harder to implement motion controls if Nintendo can make a $30 game that supports motion controls for you to create your own game. I feel like we can teach our own students how to connect the Wii Remote to a PC and then just mess around with it and see what they can do. The Wii Remote shows two things: a great story and how you can use the Wii Remote in such great ways. For example, this clip is simply going to be me playing Wii Sports Resort, showing off how great the Wii Motion Plus truly is. Now, this is a bootleg Wii Remote. It's not as great, but shout out to Carmine. For $10, he's going to give me his entire Wii, which will have Wii Motion Plus inside, and it will be an official Wii Remote. So shout out to him, and well, here's the clip of me showing off how great bootleg Wii Motion Plus really is. Now, I'm not saying today, but over time we will work our way up to math. One day we will. Oh my god, the second I let go of the B button, she thinks it is freaking funny. The kid. Oh my god, she is insane. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, stop it, I'm blocking. I was, The Wii Remote decalibrates way too easy when playing this game. Jackie is done with. What? As you saw there, I was playing some Wii Sports Resort, showing you how the motion controls accurately depicts where your hand is. Now, obviously, it will decalibrate, but this is because this technology was made in 2009. It isn't perfect, or at least as of 2009 standards. And Nintendo is still using this technology today on one of their most sold consoles of all time, right next to the DS, the Nintendo Switch. The Joy-Con contains motion controls just like the Wii Remote, and you can point wherever you want to, and for the most part, it will track where your hand is. Now, if you start shaking like crazy, it obviously will slightly be a little wrong, but it won't be 100% wrong. Two games or another game, I guess, to be more specific, that perfectly shows how good the Wii Remote is when it comes to stuff like that is Wii Sports Resort, because all the mini games perfectly track your hand. This game is perfect when it comes to like showing you what you can do with the Wii Remote. Say for example, there is this sword fighting game which I just showed you a clip of, where it perfectly tracks where your hand is and stuff like that. When it comes to table tennis, you actually have to hit the ball and move around so that you hit the ball. By comparison, that is very different to what we had to do in the original Wii Sports. In Wii Sports, the original one, you just shook the Wii Remote. That was it. You could tell that you were shaking it, but that was it. In Wii Sports Resort, you actually have to move around and hit the ball. You don't have to move your body, but you still have to move the Wii Remote around in order to hit the ball back. And I find that very, very good. Another game that does a great job with the Wii Remote, or the Wii Remote Plus to be specific, is Wii Play Motion. Wii Play Motion is not a very common game. There's only like a million or two copies of this game in existence, unlike Wii Sports Resort, which is 32 million. But still, this game is still great. You see this game right here? You use the Wii Remote and point it to where you want this umbrella to go, and you're just driving around with an umbrella and roller skates right there. This one, you throw a pebble. This one, right here, it's like whack-a-mole. You have to go around, hit the moles. And this one, you actually have to move the entire Wii Remote around to fit into those holes you see right there. This one, you have to move the Wii Remote all around so that you can pick up the ice cream as it's falling. That is just a bunch of great ways to teach students that, hey, this is how you can use motion controls, because most game developers focus strictly on keyboard typing and whatever. Now, say for example, you wanted to teach a student how to play or how to make an Oculus game. The Wii Remote is a great start for that. It only has like 4 buttons, that's it. And if you do want to stick, there's something called a nunchuck. You just plug it into the bottom, and bing bada boom, you have a joystick. Although it isn't as technologically advanced as the Wii Motion Plus, it is still a great way to play Wii games. And now, in my opinion, yeah, you can use the Wii Remote's technology to easily teach children how to play or how to make video games. Now, there is a difference. If you want to use any Wii Remote, it may not work, okay? So, here's the difference. Some Wii Remotes will just say Wii at the bottom of the controller, and they don't have Wii Motion Plus inside. Some Wii Remotes, like this one, are a bootleg that say Wii Motion 2-in-1. Those are not official, so they aren't as good. Other Wii Remotes say Wii on the bottom and have a little circle text that says Wii Motion Plus inside. Those are official, so that you can track where your Wii Remote's going and everything like that. That's how that works. Now, Wii Sports Resort doesn't only show kids how they can easily, just with a little bit of thinking, show how they can use motion controls in games. It also shows them how to have a very interesting but super subtle story that no Wii Series game ever touches. So, in Wii Fit, in the manual of Wii Fit, it shows you the entire Wuhu Island, which is where Wii Sports Resort takes place. You can see all the locations, and there's lore with that volcano, there's lore with the big town right there, and all of the games that Wuhu Island has appeared in, such as Smash Bros, Wii Music, I think, Wii Fit, all Wii Fit games, and stuff like that. It shows that there's very subtle but still lore there. If you go to the Wikipedia page, not the Wikipedia page, but the Nintendo fan wiki page for Wuhu Island, you will find a lot of information there. You'll find more than you would need to, because that game has subtle but there story. If your kid or if a student wants to create a subtle story for a video game, for example, or a kid's book, for example, or something, they can easily create it. It doesn't need to be front and center like Avengers Endgame, The Last of Us. Let me think of a book. I can't think of a book. But still, you can have a story that's just all the way in the back. Now, you can't have a story like Mario to where there is a story, but there also really isn't. Go get the princess. That's the objective of Mario. With this game, there's really no context to why you're there on an island fighting people with swords, playing table tennis as intensely as possible. There's no real reason there, and there doesn't need to be. But if you wanted to find a reason, you can. In the opening of the game, you do a little skydiving mission where it shows how accurate the Wii remote is when you're skydiving, and there's a plane director or someone flying the plane, and there's a friend there. They're helping you get off the plane. That is lore that isn't directly explored. You don't need that information completely, but it is definitely there to show you all the information that you can find if you really wanted to. In the flying game where you go around flying around as an airplane, you can go to little icons that tell you fun facts about that location and everything about it that you would need to know. And I find that very cool because it is a very subtle but intriguing way of telling a story. You can just fly around a little bit and be like, oh, there's an information icon. I'm gonna go to it, and bing bada boom, I know a little bit more about the island. It is quite interesting if you ask me, if you really wanted to go into all the detail. So yeah, there's subtle story, but also a way to show how the controller can really be used for advantages, for anything really. And since I know the school has very good PCs, I don't think it would be very hard to get a some sort of motion control. It doesn't need to be a Wii remote because this is really old technology, but it's still really good. You can get an Oculus controller. Mine's somewhere downstairs. You can do a lot to show kids how to use motion controls. In fact, the fact that the Switch is currently has like over 100 million units out there, that shows that you just go to someone's house, they have a Wii remote or a Switch, because they sold very similar amounts currently, at least. You can use these guys as motion controls to teach kids how to use motion controls. And by looking at really any game you want, you can also find some story there. Every video game ever since the mid 80s has had some sort of story to be explored in. Legend of Zelda, The Last of Us, Rayman Origins, any game you can think of. I'ma spin around and pick a random game off my shelf, and I will tell you the plot of the game if I've played it before. Okay, so I don't know what game I picked, but hopefully it's a game with a great and immersive, goddammit. Let me pick another random game. This is another random game. I haven't looked at it yet, and there is some story to this game, I will assume. Because Madden 09, I'm not bothering with Madden. I don't know if there is a story to Madden. Anyway, Connectimals. This game has a story. This game's story is that there was an old-timey guy who used to live on the island and play with all of his pet Connectimals. And one day, he disappeared adventuring. And I just broke the case trying to open it. One day, you come along to the island, and there's this little fairy guy who tells you, these cats have been left alone for years. Go explore my old friend's village place and everything like that, so you can see what it's really like in there. Or how it's been for the last couple of years. There is some story to anything, no matter how dumb it sounds. I'm not sure about Madden, but I know Connectimals has some story. There needs to be an explanation for everything, no matter how dumb and how unexploratory needing it is. So, you guys at school, go find a video game, pick one randomly off your shelf. Oh, that's what I want you to do, and try to think of a story that either the game can have or the game does have. Let's say, for example, I'm not gonna go over there and pick another random game. I don't want to pick another dumb game that doesn't actually have a story. Let me think. Sonic Generations, for a good example. Sonic Generations is a game about Sonic being lost through time, going through his old levels with his younger version of him. That's a very simple story, but it's still there. Everything has a story, and you guys can push the simpler storytelling, because you're always going to need someone who can tell a simple story, but you're also going to need someone who can tell a big, great story. Say, for example, the people who wrote Avengers Endgame, they needed someone who can make a big story. The people who wrote, let's say, another random game off the top of my head, Super Mario 3D World or Skylanders Trap Team, they didn't need a big, crazy story. They just needed a simple story so that kids can get behind it and understand it. They don't need a complicated one. So you're always going to need someone who can write a good story, a big, world immersive story, and you're always going to need someone who can create a small story. So I think, in my opinion, we should start implementing any video game as you could please, any cheap video game like Wii Music for $3 on Amazon, any game you want. Find it, bring it to the school, and and either show your students or tell the teachers, I want to learn about new carnival games on the Nintendo Wii. Okay, I want to know why this guy's a carny, and I want to know why he has a handle freaking mustache thingy, whatever. Anyway, I've been rambling here for a long time. I know. I'm not sorry. I don't care at all. Anyway, hope you guys had fun. I know Mr. Stripling is not going to play this entire video in class. But anyway, guys, hope you guys can take into consideration what I've just told you guys. And, think about it. Be like, that's crazy. Stuff like that. And I hope that this was something that could change your mind and make school a lot less boring. Say, for example, that the English class, incorporate video games. I don't care how expensive it is. You could either go on Google or find cutscenes of the game, or bring a whole PS4 to school. I don't know. You can download Steam on the Windows computers at the school. Just give us something that can show us a interactive story, because video games require a interactive story in comparison to most games. Or most stories, I mean. With Avengers Endgame, you're gonna sit there like, he dies at the end? And with video games, you're at the control of any part at whatsoever. So for games like, say for example, the Walking Dead video game, you can control where the story goes. Your choices will end up with how the story really ends. Minecraft Story Mode, that game shows you that every choice that you make will affect the story at the end. And sometimes some games are the bare minimum. They simply just say, play the game, the story will end up the same. But some games do simpler endings than the Walking Dead game. That game has a bunch of endings. That's one category. Another category, Mario games or games like that where there's one ending. It may be a bonus ending if you keep playing the game more, but there's one ending. And there's another ending for other games that have this type of ending where there's multiple endings. When I say multiple endings, I don't mean like, you beat Bowser and then you go to the special world and beat whoever else. I mean, depending on what you do in the game will determine how the game ends. Let's say, for example, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If you don't collect all the Chaos Emeralds, I'm pretty sure Sonic loses. If you do collect all the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic does. We need a story that can go by any condition whatsoever. And these stories are very complicated to write if they have thousands of endings, only 3 endings, 1 main ending. It's always going to be complicated for someone to easily write that all. But obviously, that's why we need more people who are prepared to do crazy stuff like that and don't need to go to a full-on college dedicated to that. So just, hey, if you want to take hyper English, we're going to make you write a lot, and you can teach students to be prepared to write a lot if they want to get into video game writing, or if they're hired to work on a video game that requires a lot of writing or no writing at all. But that was just my quick sense. I said this video was going to end at the 10-minute mark, and then I went for like 3 more minutes. My Wii U's been on this entire time. As you can see by the Wii remote, it wasn't just on. It was doing something. I don't know what it was doing, but it sure was. Yeah. You can see the pointer controls working. Maybe you could teach students about that. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. And actually now, I'm done here. I'm out.